To discuss the shooting at the White House Correspondents Dinner, joining us now is Alvin Louis. He's the president of Courage is a Habit. So, Alvin, good afternoon. Good to see you again. Now, the suspect,
Hey, Don,
Cole
good to see
Allen.
you.
Good to see you as always. So, Cole Allen had displayed anti-Christian, anti-Trump viewpoints on social media. He attended at least one No Kings protest in California. I'm just wondering, is there an argument to be made that the action of the suspected shooter was a product of an environment of rhetoric and activism, radicalization?
Oh, it's 100% a product. It's not just a product, it's an intended product. There's a study that just came out that showed that the more education you get in terms of if you go higher into the academia, you become more likely to be violent politically. Because the education system from kindergarten all the way through college is one scaffolding system that trains children and then young adults to be anti-American, anti-white activists. And so from kindergarten on, they teach them about marginalized people and be kind and empathy. And then it moves up from there. By the time they get out of high school, they're ready to march. And if, like this guy here, he went through college, and it doesn't even matter what degree, because he was in the engineering degree, like in that STEM and that type of world. But it doesn't matter what degree, because before parents would think, well, if my child went to this degree, it's not the social science that has a lot of indoctrination. It doesn't matter because all the colleges are Marxist indoctrination center. So not only is he a product, he is the intended product. And in your K through 12 schools today, they want to create more Cole Allens. They want to create more Renee Goods out of your daughters because they want the violence, and they're teaching your children through mental health, through social emotional learning, all these different ideology that makes them angry, it makes them violent, and all it takes is just one moment for them to act out on their training.
Okay, but the question I want to ask you is, how does this ideology, this education, convince someone that killing another person, this is another level, is okay?
Mm-hmm. Well, they use really soft words in the beginning of the education. They talk about be kind, anti-bullying, and then they start ramping up things like words are violence. Uh, they're trying to erase trans people. They're trying to erase black people. They're trying to erase anybody that's not white. Trump's a Nazi. Republicans are Nazis. So if you as a man, if you as a person, Don, if someone's telling you outside your home every night, there's someone trying to erase your family. They're trying to erase you because you're not white. They're trying to erase you because you're a journalist. If someone keeps telling you this for years and years and years on end, when you see that person come up to your house, even if that person means you no harm, you're going to react violently because you've been told for years that they want to harm you and your family. Now you're a grown man. Now imagine if you're telling a child this from kindergarten, first grade, second grade onward, and then of course, now you get it in school, and then you get it in the legacy media, and they're saying Trump and Republicans and white people, anybody who supports Christian values, are out to erase everyone. That's why they use those words: erasing, genocide, Nazis. And so when you do that, it's very easy to get someone to be violent, especially because the mental health in schools is designed to break a person down. So they're already on drugs, they're already on bipolar drugs, they're on antidepressants, they're on all these drugs. And if they're trans in any way, if they're taking any kind of cross-sex hormones or puberty blockers, it is very easy to get these people who are mentally broken, emotionally already tortured in school, and then physically they're not healthy people. It's very easy to get these people to blame all the people that they want to blame, which is Christians, white people, Republicans, Trump. It's all in the education system. That's all the education system is. It's a activation and training system.
Okay, let me tell you something, Alvin, and you tell me if this exemplifies what you just described right now. So our very own White House correspondent, she was on her way to the briefing. I think it was on Saturday night, and on her way, she overheard teenagers reacting to this news. They were laughing, and they were saying, they wish they got him. This is what she heard, our own White House correspondent. So, I mean, you tell me, does this exemplify what you said, this kind of casual dehumanizing from young people?
Oh, it's 100% exactly reflective of what I said, because these young people believe that Trump is Hitler. They believe he's all these evil people. Now, the thing about the education system is they actually don't know anything about fascism or communism or anything like that. So if they did, they would know, obviously, Trump is nowhere near that. In fact, he's quite the opposite. It's the Democratic Party that is that way. But they don't know that. So the young people always believe that violence is the answer because they've been taught from a very early on, from elementary and middle school on, that words are violence. So if you say there's no such thing as a trans child, that is justification for violence. If you say, you know what, I don't think racism is a big deal in America, I don't think that's why you don't succeed. If you say, you know what, black people, it's only 13% of the population, but they commit, over 50% of the crime, that's a statistic. But they consider that violence. If you say we should have closed borders, we should not give one single dime to illegal aliens, they should be deported, they consider that violence. So things that were normal things that you would say, 20 years ago, and everyone believed it, everyone knows it, it becomes violence. And you get there by brainwashing children to believe that, which is why Courage is a Habit, we always encourage parents to reject inclusion and embrace exclusion. And every time they tell you you can't say something, that's the thing that you must say, because changing language and manipulating language is how they brainwash children. That is the entry point, is always language.
Okay, so if you say this education of this particular ideology starts from kindergarten, K through 12, and then
Mhm.
onwards, how does someone escape that? It sounds like to me, I mean, there's no escape.
Well, obviously, the first answer is you pull your kids. It's whatever sacrifices you have to make. Now, we understand, obviously, not every family can do it or they can't do it yet. But for all the investment people make in college, parents save for college and they go into debt in college, our position is reverse that. It's more important that you invest in your children when they're young, not wait till they're 18 when they're completely brainwashed. So if you're going to have to go in debt, if you're going to have to take out loans, instead of doing it for college, do it for K through 12 and get your kids out of these indoctrination centers. Now, if you can't, which again, I understand a lot of families cannot, and we are completely sympathetic to that, that's where Courage is a Habit comes in. We give you the tools to be able to protect your kids, to be able to get them out of some of these mental health initiatives. We have opt-out forms on courageisahabit.org. We teach you how to get them out of the data mining, the data collection, because the mental health and the data collection are the two bloodlines that feed this indoctrination. And so if enough parents, even if like 20% of parents in a school district start to opt their kids out, it's going to make the system start to kind of crumble because they don't have enough children to brainwash. They don't have the data that they're not collecting. So does it solve the problem? No, it doesn't solve the problem completely, but it certainly helps a ton in getting some of the indoctrination to slow down. And more importantly, if you cannot pull your kids, and even if you do pull your kids, it's so important for parents to get to their children first. So, for example, today you and I are having a conversation about the shooter. It's so important that parents tell kids exactly who the shooter is, how he is, what his belief system is. Because if parents don't talk to their kids, I promise you the schools will lie to them. They will make the children be sympathetic to the shooter. They will make Trump the oppressor. They will make him the bad guy, even though they're trying to kill him. So parents, even if you have young children, you're thinking, oh, they're elementary school, the school's not going to talk to them about that. That is not true. Whatever big happens, you have to get to your children first, because I promise you that your schools will lie to your children about it, and they will come home having empathy for the shooter.
Okay, those are very good points, Alvin. I want to ask you this since I have you here, because
Of course.
Jimmy Kimmel, he was talking about this event
Mhm.
a couple days before. He said Melania Trump is going to be an expected widow, making very
Yeah.
light of something very serious. I mean, how
Right.
does media fit into this picture? How does social media fit into this picture?
Well, media and social media, if you take away X, before Elon bought X, the media and social media is completely radically left. And they were banning for a long time. They were banning and suspending any conservative voices or even normal voices, just even middle of the road voices. And so people like Kimmel, because he's on ABC, they protect people like him because he's a propagandist. He's not a comedian. He's not the old Johnny Carson or David Letterman. He is a propagandist. So he will push any narrative that the media pushes. So Trump killing people, Trump Nazi, all these people being deported are just normal good people. He promotes that, even if he hides it behind a little bit of humor. Now, these days, he's not even trying to pretend it's humor because they want to normalize Trump being killed. It's not just Trump. They want to normalize anybody that believes in closed borders, that anyone who wants to protect children from being trans and mutilated, anybody that believes skin color does not determine your success, anybody who doesn't want to believe, who fights against the fake climate changeism, anything like that is grounds for violence. And so people like Jimmy Kimmel is a propagandist. And so the only way that you can beat that is, again, you have to embrace exclusion. You have to remember that anything that they say you can't say, you must say it 3 times as much because they're so afraid of people speaking up. They hate the First Amendment. They're definitely afraid of the First Amendment. And so this is why they're always manipulating language. They say, oh, you cannot say trans woman. No, you should say trans woman, not call that person a man. Say mentally ill man. Do not say undocumented migrants. Say illegal alien, violent illegal alien. Those words are very, very important because if they control language, they control thoughts. And if they can control thoughts, they can control your actions. Once they control your actions, then they control the entire culture.
All right, Alvin, let me just ask you one final thing here. President Trump is calling on Americans to resolve their differences peacefully. How do we do that?
You have to start with language. You have to start with language and you let them go nuts. You let them go crazy. Because if you try to fight on facts and logic, those conservatives will lose. You cannot fight on facts and logic because these people believe a child can be born in the wrong body. They want you to support illegal aliens until you have nothing to give to your children. You cannot talk to these people about facts and logic. So the only thing you can do as an everyday average American is, first of all, you must reject their language. You must speak the truth. And more importantly, you have to get your kids either out of the system, the school system, or you use our tools to protect them and you get really very, very much involved, offensively involved in your child's school and stop sending your kids to college. There's no reason why to send your kids to college. You're quite literally paying $100,000, $150,000 to a system that hates you and hates America. So these are the things that every average person can do. Language, protect your kids in K through 12, stop sending your kids to college. You have to starve these systems. That's what every average American can do. And you got to make courage your habit. If you start to be afraid of what they call you, the labels, racist, bigot, all those things, then you're going to lose before you even begin.
Well, all right, Alvin, I really enjoyed this conversation. Pleasure to speak with you today. Thank you.
Great to see you, Don.